Let's get started. Number 6. Peak Mount Stupid. Imagine skimming a single Wikipedia article on string theory while sitting on the toilet and walking out of the bathroom entirely convinced you are ready to debate Stephen Hawking's ghost on live television. This isn't just standard issue arrogance. It's a meticulously documented psychological phenomenon, famously known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. The core of this absolute cognitive train wreck is tragically simple. The skills required to actually be good at a task are the exact same skills required to recognize that you are terrible at it. It's like trying to spell check a dense legal document using a dictionary written in a language you don't speak while blindfolded. When someone is operating at absolute rock bottom in terms of knowledge or competence, they simply lack the mental equipment necessary to measure their own ineptitude. They are flying blind, but their brain has helpfully painted a fake dashboard showing a perfect altitude and clear skies. Psychologists refer to this aggressively confident early stage of learning as the peak of Mount Stupid. You learn one tiny, isolated fact about a massive, complex topic, and your brain floods your system with unearned dopamine, screaming, "We did it! We are undisputed geniuses now." You don't know enough to see the vast, terrifying ocean of things you still don't comprehend. Legitimate experts, on the other hand, are staring right at that dark ocean, paralyzed by how much they haven't mastered yet. But the aggressively uninformed person, they are splashing around in a shallow puddle in the parking lot, loudly bragging about how they conquered the sea. They will argue with doctors, mechanics, and engineers with the absolute certainty of a toddler who just figured out how to use a doorknob. Basically, your brain is a lazy, corrupt student that grades its own homework and awards itself an A+ just for remembering to write its name at the top of the page. Number 5. The confidence con. Here's a fun paradox. The less someone knows about a topic, the more they'll talk about it like they invented it. You've met this person. Maybe you've been this person at a dinner party, 3 sentences deep into explaining the stock market to an actual economist. This isn't arrogance exactly, it's a wiring glitch. To know you're bad at something, you need a baseline skill in that exact thing, just to recognize what good even looks like. No baseline, no radar. So the brain does what brains do when they're missing data. It fills the gap with vibes, and vibes are, unfortunately, extremely confident. Psychologists call the resulting mismatch between actual competence and self-assessed competence the foundation of the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it means the most unshakable confidence in the room often belongs to the person with the least business having any. Meanwhile, the genuinely skilled people are over in the corner going, well, it's complicated, because expertise comes with a free bonus feature, awareness of everything you still don't know. Ignorance, on the other hand, is blissfully unaware of its own edges. It just sees the part of the map it's standing on and assumes that's the whole world. Basically, competence installs a fog of war overlay, and not having it doesn't mean you see more. It means your screen is just one flat color, and you've decided that color is correct. Number 4. The blissful blind spot. Imagine trying to grade your own test paper without ever learning the subject. That's essentially what your brain does every single day when it evaluates its own performance, and it's why some people leave a job interview convinced they nailed it while the interviewer is already drafting the rejection email. This is a metacognition problem. Metacognition being the fancy term for thinking about your own thinking, which turns out to be a skill just like any other, not a built-in feature everyone gets for free. You can be bad at a task and bad at knowing you're bad at it, which is basically a 2-for-1 failure combo pack. Researchers have shown this exact pattern in everything from grammar tests to logic puzzles to humor. Yes, they made people rate how funny their own jokes were, and the least funny people rated themselves as basically professional comedians. The cruel twist is that fixing the blind spot requires the very skill you're missing, so it's less blind spot and more sealed room, with no windows, and a guy inside insisting the view is great. Meanwhile, your friend who's actually hilarious is nervously asking if that joke landed. That's not modesty, that's just what accurate self-monitoring looks like from the outside. It looks like doubt, because it is genuinely tracking reality instead of a highlight reel. So the next time someone is radiating certainty about something they clearly do not understand, remember, their internal fact-checker didn't quit. It was never hired. Number 3. The expert illusion. Here's the twist nobody expects. The smarter and more skilled someone actually is, the more likely they are to times underestimate times themselves. Sounds backwards, but stick with it. Once you know a subject deeply, you start assuming everyone else knows roughly what you know, because that's your normal now, your baseline, your Tuesday. So experts routinely look at a room and think, we're all about the same level, when in reality they're floating somewhere near the ceiling and everyone else is still finding the stairs. This is sometimes called the curse of knowledge, and it means true expertise often comes wrapped in humility, not because experts are secretly saints, but because they can actually see how much territory is left unexplored. It's like hiking a mountain and realizing the peak you thought was the top just revealed 4 more peaks behind it. The higher you climb, the more summit you can suddenly see. Beginners don't get that view. They're still at the trailhead, looking at a small hill, thinking, yep, that's basically Everest, I'm basically done. So you end up with this bizarre social seesaw, unqualified people overestimating with the confidence of a weather forecaster, and qualified people underestimating with the nervous energy of someone double-checking their own math for the 5th time. And guess which one usually talks louder in the meeting? Number 2. The feedback vacuum. You know what almost nobody gets in daily life? An honest performance review, not from your boss, from reality itself. Most of your actions don't come with a scoreboard. You don't get a little pop-up after a conversation that says, that joke landed at 40% efficiency, or your opinion on politics was statistically uninformed. Instead, you get silence, or worse, polite nodding, and your brain interprets silence as a passing grade. This is a huge reason dumb doesn't self-correct. The world is way too polite to run the correction. Think about it. If you're mediocre at karaoke, your friends aren't grading you on pitch accuracy. They're clapping because they love you and want the song to end. That applause gets filed in your brain as evidence of skill, when it was actually just evidence of mercy. Multiply that by every soft, non-confrontational interaction you have for years, and you get a person walking around with a personality built entirely on unearned participation trophies. Compare that to something brutal and instant like stand-up comedy, where a bad joke gets you actual silence in a room full of strangers who owe you nothing. That's feedback. That's a slap. Most of life just isn't built like that. It's built on kindness, conflict, avoidance, and the group chat saying, haha, yeah, to something that wasn't funny. So the dumb stay confidently dumb not because they're incapable of learning, but because nobody in their orbit is cruel enough or brave enough to actually tell them. Basically, ignorance doesn't survive because it's strong. It survives because everyone around it is too nice to kill it. Number 1. The echo chamber effect. Here's a sneaky one. Dumb doesn't realize it's dumb, partly because dumb builds its own personal fan club. You gravitate toward people who agree with you. It's comfortable. It's easy. It doesn't require the emotional labor of being told you're wrong at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. So your group chat, your social feed, your favorite podcast, they all start functioning like a hall of mirrors, except every mirror is angled specifically to make you look correct. Psychologists call this confirmation bias, and paired with an algorithm that's literally optimized to feed you more of what you already click on, you end up in a custom-built reality where your worst takes get applause instead of scrutiny. It's less an opinion bubble and more a spa day for your ego, complete with soothing music and 0 difficult questions. And the wild part is it times like validation, like you've done independent research and reached a conclusion, when really you've just been marinating in the same 5 opinions wearing different outfits. Meanwhile, anyone who disagrees gets quietly muted, unfollowed, or written off as just not getting it, which conveniently removes the only people capable of popping the bubble. So the feedback loop doesn't just fail to correct you, it actively rewards you for staying wrong, with likes, hearts, and comments saying, so real for this. Basically, being wrong used to be a lonely, humbling experience. Now it comes with a built-in audience cheering you on, which might be the most modern tragedy of all. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe.